Now, a quick word from our sponsors.
Don't forget to check out the Hockey Podcast Network's newest affiliate, NHLShop.com. That's right, the official NHL merchandise page. Right now, they're giving 20% off orders over $25 with code NHLICE25. Also, if you use our link that we're going to tweet out after this episode, you can help support us and the other hosts at the Hockey Podcast Network. The Hockey Podcast Network has also joined forces with Puffy Mattresses. They're not just any bed-in-a-bag company. These are America's most comfortable mattress, and right now you can get $300 off a new mattress plus a free king-size pillow. Plus, they offer a 101-night sleep trial, so if you're not satisfied with the mattress, you can return it no problem. Also, if you use our link, just like NHLShop.com, you can help support us and the other hosts at the Hockey Podcast Network.
This is the Hockey Podcast Network, your home for hockey talk on every team in the NHL.
Welcome to Offside by a Mile, the podcast for anything and everything Colorado Avalanche, and the official Avs podcast for the Hockey Podcast Network. Well, that's it for the 2020 trade deadline.
Indeed.
I believe they said 32 trades on deadline day, which is the most for the last 6 or 7 years or something.
Yeah, I was going to say that definitely seems like a lot, and it kind of did seem like a lot. Like there was nothing crazy.
It was just
but there was a few
consistent.
Crazy ones. Yeah.
It was normally from 7 till noon, there's nothing.
Right, and then it's the last 15 minutes.
Noon until 3 hours past the deadline, you find out about all the trades. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an eventful day. Not so much for the Avs here, obviously, but we will break down that in a minute. I'm still a little sick, but I just had a big bowl of soup, and this is the best my voice has sounded in the last 4 days.
I was just going to say, man, that cleaned it right up.
It's pretty solid. In half an hour, we'll check back and see how bad it's tailed off,
Yeah.
But until then, it's good right now, ish. But yeah, the Avs, little disappointing. They didn't get Chris Kreider. They didn't really get, well, obviously we already knew about the disappointment of not getting Tyler Toffoli.
Mm-hmm.
Not really shoring up the... I don't know, the perceived goalie issue, the goalie needs.
Yeah.
However, they picked up a goalie.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, with the Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
The return of Calle Rosen, the trades backsies, if you will.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. And then
for apparently something the Avs really enjoy, and a right-handed goalie.
Yeah, that too, right?
A silly cider, if you will.
Silly cider. Yeah.
Thanks, Pierre.
I mean, and it's pretty funny timing-wise that Muzzin should go down with a broken hand and be out for 4 weeks, and then, oh, look at this. Today we get
Calle
the news.
Rosen back.
Calle Rosen gets pulled up here, and yeah.
Which, for him, that's pretty much his first NHL time since, I don't know.
When was it
First
even?
game or two?
November? Was it... It was October, November-ish. I think he had a couple different stints.
Yeah, you're right.
Nothing too much, though. That's for sure. He maybe played, 4 games or something? I actually haven't looked.
I'm looking right now. He had 8, apparently.
Oh.
Wow, that shows you how much he contributed.
How
2 assists. But again, he wasn't a super big negative. He was +2 in those 8 games.
Yeah, I mean, he's a depth D-man, so...
We kind of talked about that last episode, plus minus, what it really means. But but still, for him, it wasn't necessarily a bad showing. It just, the Avs have an incredibly good D-core / set of prospects, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Kyle Dubas responded to the trade afterwards and said, like, we didn't really want to trade Calle Rosen in the first place. At the same time, like, I'd assume Hutchinson wasn't on the Avs list of things to acquire at that point either.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those deals where, just like the Kadri-Barrie deal, it helps both sides, where the Avs have an issue for a third or fourth string goalie.
Yeah.
And the Leafs clearly have defensive issues. That's now 3 of their top 4-ish, if you count CC as the top 4, that are out right now.
Yeah.
On a team like Toronto that doesn't exactly have the best decor.
Yeah, it doesn't help the situation whatsoever.
But yeah, anyway, back to the Avs. Hutchinson is, I don't know, he's a 3, sure. He's going to obviously back up for the foreseeable future while Grubauer's out.
Yeah,
Which
seems about right.
Hopefully isn't that much longer. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think he's been on the ice yet.
Still haven't really heard much or seen much about him, so.
Oh, another thing to point out, sorry for anyone listening trying to get some coverage of the game on Wednesday night. We are recording just before the game starts, so that will be Sunday's episode. We'll have to cram in another 3-game episode.
Hooray.
It'll be fun. And, hopefully not an hour and 20 minutes like last time.
Yeah, and I mean, I got faith. It's against Buffalo. We had a really, really dominating performance in Buffalo. So,
Buffalo, okay, so not exactly Avalanche related aside from the fact that they're playing tonight. What the hell was Buffalo doing on trade deadline day? Like, what?
I mean,
I'm going to trade for Wayne Simmons and then trade away who did they trade to Pittsburgh?
I'm trying to remember too. So I'm looking back right now.
Connor Sherry is who rings a bell. I believe it's...
Yeah?
I believe it was Sherry. Or Sherry. But I believe they pronounce it Sherry, which is weird, but sure.
And then they made another random acquisition of Emil Juice?
Oh, Juice, yeah.
I don't even know who that is, so... that's from the Dallas Stars, okay.
It's just such a weird day for the Buffalo Sabres.
I mean, honestly, for sure, I don't even know. It's like they don't even know what they're doing.
They're just going. They're going really full Vancouver Canucks. Like, we're rebuilding, but we're trying to be better, but we're not really there, but we might be there.
It's like half-ass doing both ways of bargaining in a way.
Well, it's probably partly like, okay, the Sabres were supposed to be decent this year. They have not been.
At times they have been, and at times they've been real garbage.
Which is pretty much how the last 3 seasons have been.
Which is classic Buffalo hockey for you.
But at the same time, you look at the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place teams in the Atlantic, and you got to think, like, if we have like a good 2-week run, we're in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the Leafs. Florida is just apparently still sucking.
Doing kind of the same thing as Buffalo.
And then Buffalo is just sitting there like, we could make 3rd. They're not that far away.
Yeah.
So it's such a weird division. Kind of like the Pacific was last year.
Yeah.
Very much like the wild card races in both divisions. But anyway, yeah, back to the Avs. They get Hutchinson. I spoke my piece on Monday's episode. Domingue for free would have been better option in my opinion.
And then you see Domingue get scooped up too.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's tough with Hutchinson because he kind of just faded away.
Well, yeah, so that's the thing. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Hutchinson's a great goalie and they snuck him out of Toronto because Toronto's defense is bad.
Mm-hmm.
He plays dodgeball a lot.
I mean, yeah.
That being said, it doesn't mean the Avs goaltender and coaches can't get a hold of him and make something of the kid.
Well, I mean, like, the 3 years from 2014-15 to 2016-17, all 3 of those seasons he played, about 30 games, 38 in 14-15.
Yeah.
For the Jets, and, like, I'm a pretty big Jets fan. That's my hometown. I was born in Winnipeg. So, like, I've paid a lot of attention to the Jets over the years, and he seemed like, because that's kind of when they were going through, it was like Hellebuck, Hutchinson. And they were kind of, it was pretty even game split. And, like, you've seen signs of him for sure. But for whatever reason or reasons, he's kind of, he faded into obscurity. Like he got traded to Florida or whatever. I can't even remember, honestly.
He was in Florida, then he went to Toronto.
Yeah. So, I mean, you never know. I mean, he might get a couple starts here, depending, I guess, how good Frankie plays, because we're kind of riding Frankie right now, which is completely fine.
It's definitely fine with me after the weekend he had.
Right. So, I mean, it gives us a little bit of extra security in having a guy who's actually played in the NHL, other than, like, Hunter Miskew. He hasn't, got the experience. So, I mean, it's a little bit of security.
You never know what he's going to give you.
Yeah.
When you're talking about Miskew.
Yeah.
Or Miskew. But the one thing with Hutchinson, it does feel kind of like an Oilers situation where the team's not very good for their goalie, and then all of a sudden, Devin Dubnyk appears out of nowhere, and not necessarily out of nowhere, but wow, he's great.
Yeah. Oh, he actually was a good goalie. Yeah.
But let's not forget, Devin Dubnyk bounced around 4 times after Edmonton, I believe.
Well, yeah, and he
or
was
at
like,
least 3.
He was like sent down to ECHL.
Yeah. So that's one thing to think about. The second thing to think about is know what kind of chances the Avs give against their goalies. And if you think all of a sudden the Avs system's going to be the one to pull a goalie out from the depths of getting cut, basically, off your team, that ain't it.
I mean, yeah, it's,
chances are not necessarily high volume, but they're definitely high quality.
They definitely have been at points in time this year. So
right, so it's just like it's definitely nice to see Sakic go out and make this move and get some sort of help.
Yeah,
because for sure, like Frankie and Miskew as the guy or the guys that are back there when Grubauer's hurt is terrifying. Especially terrifying if one of those guys gets injured in the playoffs.
Oh, totally.
Right? If all of a sudden you're going
up,
if all of a sudden you're going into game 6 or 7 of a series and it's Frankie and Hunter Miskew. Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, because you really don't know how Frankie would respond in playoffs. Like, that's a whole other ball game, Yeah. So,
well, look at Columbus. Columbus loses Korpisalo, and then all of a sudden Elvis just goes nuts, right?
Yeah.
Korpisalo is backing up his first game, and Elvis gets hurt.
Yeah.
Like, are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah, you just never know, man.
Right? So it's just like, especially with the Avs, the way it's been this year, do not assume injuries are done.
Oh, exactly.
And, right, if nothing, like, again, Hutchinson's not the answer. If Frankie goes down, they're screwed.
It's gonna be. Let's not even freaking think about that.
But that's the thing. It doesn't necessarily give you the greatest safety blanket. But you weren't going to get Robin Lehner. That was crazy.
Well, yeah, exactly. You're not going to go out and get Carey Price.
However, the deal for Robin Lehner was very interesting.
It was.
This is a trade that I did not expect out of the Maple Leafs on Monday. I did not expect the Leafs to take on salary for draft picks.
Oh yeah, this was the weird 3-way, right?
Where the Leafs trade a basically nobody prospect to the Vegas Golden Knights to then retain 44% of Robin Lehner's contract at $1.4 million. Or sorry, 44% of the remaining $2.5 million. And it's just like, it was such a weird trade. And I was like, wait, the Leafs have salary room for that? What?
Yeah, that is super. I don't think I've seen something quite like that.
It was so weird. But yeah, like, basically Vegas trades away their backup goalie in Malcolm Subban, who was having a rough year.
Right.
And another prospect, Slava Demon or Demon, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then a second round pick that was not theirs. It was from Pittsburgh. I don't remember for why. But anyway, Vegas ends up getting with Robin Lehner for basically $1.1 million or something, or $1.4 million. Yeah, $1.4 million cap hit.
Mm.
And it's just like, well, that's not bad at all for a backup goalie.
Yeah, seriously.
And a very strange choice to back up Marc-Andre Fleury. But this has not been the greatest season for Fleury. Vegas is probably in that spot. Well, clearly they're in that spot where they fire Gerard Gallant and they think that they're cup contenders, even though they're got one of the better coaches in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just one of those things, right? It's just like, I guess they're all in this year because they felt like their backup goalie couldn't get them 2 points. Very, very strange deal. Like, I did not expect Robin Lehner to go there. As a fantasy owner, on the other hand, of Robin Lehner, I'm hoping that he gets a fair amount of starts because he should pick up more wins than he did in Chicago.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah. Yeah, pretty interesting stuff. I mean.
But, like, I think we said on Monday's episode, we didn't expect a trade like that. You didn't expect him to go get like Henrik Lundqvist, the King rumors.
Right.
That all day Monday, most of the day Sunday. Like, what?
Yeah. I didn't even know. Half the time it's like, how the hell do you take anything that anybody says seriously? Unless it's like fucking Bob McKenzie or like, some of the straight up dudes who are like
Ryan S. Clark here, or like Dater
totally.
or Hasel or wow, we just had like the weirdest little audio glitch there. Everything just like shut off and stopped recording.
So hopefully everything's good.
Anyway, back into the Hank stuff. Like you're saying, like listening to Twitter and like reading Twitter and things trending on Twitter and just all that crap.
And also just, kind of like cheaper publications, like off-brand publications. Don't listen to them ever.
Well, and then too, like you don't even like not even. And I didn't see anybody get burned by this on trade deadline day itself, but the fake Twitter accounts.
Yeah, dude, the fake.
We saw that one where it was like
it's like Carolina or something.
It was like Carolina Hurricanes. Yeah, it was. It's Carolina Hurricanes, and the person put like a J with like a white background on the J at the end. So it kind of sort of looked like a checkmark verification.
Especially if you're just skimming over and you're like, oh, like that's legit.
And they said, like, they tweeted something and it was like, we acquired so-and-so. And then the actual Hurricanes Twitter account was like, no, we didn't. And I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, so, gotta have your wits about you.
And I understand, like, internet trolls are internet trolls, for sure. We employ one at the Hockey Podcast Network. The hockey troll from the Capitals podcast.
Yeah.
But like I understand the pleasure. Like if you can pull one over on like a bunch of people,
oh yeah,
it would feel really fun.
Just
for sure.
Get all the gullibles out there.
But y'all suck.
Well, those ones in particular, man, because that's like straight up just trying to
it's complete
everybody.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, you're not trying to be like Commodore over here and just be like
right
insider.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
His tweets are epic.
His was fun to just check in on everyone.
He's a troll, but everybody knows he's trolling most of the time.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the other Avs trade. Vladislav Namestnikov.
I like this one.
This one's a bit out of left field.
It's totally like, what? Where did this come from?
It's very Joe Sakic, though.
Yeah, totally.
It's very budget.
Yeah. It's
a budget depth guy, which, to be honest, that's what the Avs need, right? We said that all summer, right? It was depth. What's cheap? Depth.
Yeah.
What is supposed to be cheap? That's depth. There's no point in going to pay somebody a first-round pick to play third or fourth line minutes. That's crazy.
Well, and that's like the whole thing that like even, Sakic's reiterated and everything throughout this whole last week has been you don't want to screw anything up because everybody's back for playoffs. We're hoping anyway. So, you go...
If your 12 guys are healthy for playoffs, Namestnikov doesn't have to play.
Yeah, and I mean, he will still.
Yeah.
And as we just got note of yesterday that Matt Nieto is out now day-to-day. It's like, holy shit. And also, I guess we should mention that Burakovsky, was just illness. And apparently he's not playing last night. I'll say that.
Wednesday.
He's not playing Wednesday night against Buffalo again. So that's still like a little bit concerning because that's been like, 5 days of being pretty sick. So hopefully he gets healthy because
flu?
Yeah, I mean, that is a player we need back. So, but that, it's also kind of good news that it's just an illness. He will recover quickly off that. So
Eventually, hopefully.
I mean, that right there, it's like, you don't want to screw up your chemistry that you've kind of acquired on these top two lines, however combination we're going to have that night.
Yeah.
But Vlad's going to, set in pretty good on, like, especially in practice today, he was slotted in with Belmar on the PK. He did some PK time with Ottawa. Also, to be noted, he had 4 shorthanded goals, 6 shorthanded points. So he's on the ice for 6 shorthanded goals at least. So that's another big thing to keep in mind, and especially with having Calvert out right now.
That and the fact that the PK is the PK.
Right. Like, if we can get help on our PK through a move like that too, I think that's a really good move. And I mean, he's not like, it's not like he's a super quiet scorer. Like, he's played 56 games this year, 13 goals, 12 assists. I mean, that's not bad. And even the -7 on Ottawa is not a terrible sign. I think he's one of the higher.
He's actually only -5 with the Sens. He was -2 with the Rangers before he got traded.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
So it's like -5 on the Sens is pretty solid.
I mean, yeah, right? Like, so it might be a decent pickup. I mean, I don't know. Like, especially with Calvert out, I think that's a really good quick Band-Aid fix right there.
Yeah.
So
it's also, for those that don't remember, like I said, he was a Rangers player at the start of the year. This was a weird one when the Sens acquired him at the beginning of the year. It was because he was an expiring deal. The Sens were clearly not going to be very good again. And they traded away a minor league prospect and a 4th-round pick of their own for a guy that they must have been trying to flip. And then, I don't know if it didn't work out or what, but they ended up getting a 4th-round pick back. But it's going to be a substantially later pick because you're going to assume the Ottawa Senators pick is in the top 5 of the 4th round.
Yeah.
So
basically, they just lost assets.
They lost a prospect and lost a draft position for like a very odd reason. Like, I understand you need players to play. Like, you need a 20-man roster, but it was just a very weird trade in the beginning for Ottawa. But not a surprise that they wanted to move on from this guy because he was a rental, and if he wasn't going to sign, then you might as well trade him for something.
I feel like no one wants to sign there right now, too.
Well, that's another issue, right? Yeah, why?
It's like with Pajot gone now, too. He's like, hallelujah, I'm going to the island. Did you see some of his stuff? It's so funny on Twitter. Just one picture of him at the airport. Like, you can tell he's just so stoked. He's like, going to the island, gonna meet all my teammates tonight. He's like taking a picture out the window.
What he doesn't know is he's going to play for Lou Lamoriello, and he's gonna have no fun.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a different strategy in the island, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, we'll see how he fits in. Actually, I think I was seeing earlier that he's already in a fight.
Yeah, actually, I did see that. Yeah. First game.
Yeah. What a guy.
Sticking up for his teammate.
Attaboy.
That's how you really win over your teammates for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, he's the guy that fits a need for the Avs, right? Like, again, penalty killing help, depth, another player to be in the bottom 6, potentially second line if whatever happens.
Yeah, exactly.
You never know, right? With Burakovsky missing time. I'm not saying right now, but you never know, right?
Yeah.
It's just a nice option. Tyson Jost's name was out there. I think we kind of touched on him last episode. He didn't move.
Mm-hmm. It's fine.
I feel like if he moves, and again, I'm not asking for him to get traded. I've had this rant already.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, he might be the piece. He might be a piece that gets you what you need in the summertime.
Yeah. And
a player like that is generally a summertime move because he's not a rental.
Right. And you never know. He's still got, like the last 6-ish weeks here to maybe, prove that he can chip in a bit. He's been really snake bitten. We talked about that.
Again, yeah, he hasn't been quiet on the chances front. He's just been quiet on the score sheet.
Yeah. And as of late, he has gotten better, higher quality chances. So.
If he, didn't sign a deal with the devil or something, maybe he'd score some more.
Yeah, I don't know.
But clearly, he did something in a past life that nobody likes right now.
Karma's coming back.
But that's the thing with Jost, man. Like, I don't get it for him. Like, he's got grade A chances once, twice a game, and just goalie robs him, whatever.
I mean, yeah, like, especially in the last few games here, you're definitely seen him making some nice rushes, you know?
Yeah.
Taking his opportunities, and it's not like he's flubbing them off or, you know, making bad passes or bad plays or whatever. So you got to think that eventually it's going to come for him. And, I mean, there's still time for him. So we'll see. He's still a young guy.
I guess want to kind of touch on the rest of the division, possibly.
Yeah, kind of what.
Pretty quiet, to be honest, for the rest of like the contenders in the Central.
Yeah, the Central is relatively unchanged.
Like probably the Jets with the biggest move with DeMello.
Yeah, I mean we all know that's something that they need.
The Blues made a couple. I can't pull them up right now because my cat friendly is stuck. Where? Why? Why are you doing this to me? Yeah, okay, so I guess whatever. Dallas, you know, we were kind of talking about that with Juice. Actually, that was Florida, right? They got Juice?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm just getting lost in all these trades right now.
I know it's crazy. But yeah, like Buffalo pretty much just traded away stuff.
Yeah.
Or Buffalo. Holy moly.
The Blues.
Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
I was like about to say their name, and then the Buffalo logo went by, and my brain just like, Buffalo.
There's the one I was thinking about for the Jets is they get Cody Eakin.
Yeah, right. That was the other one, DeMello and Eakin. So like that's pretty big moves.
And it's funny because you look at the price. Cody Eakin, about the same thing as Namestnikov.
Yeah,
conditional 2021 4th round pick.
Which I think I would have preferred Eakin as an Avs fan.
Maybe.
But I feel like the Jets got a good deal. I think Namestnikov's worth a 4th. I think Eakin's worth more.
Yeah,
but at the same time, right? Like Eakin's is a conditional 3rd, and it's also next year, which also makes it cheaper in theory because it's a later pick. But it's if Winnipeg makes the playoffs, it's a 3rd, so it's basically a 3rd.
Gotcha.
Right, so it's like that. I think that's probably fair value aside from the fact that it's next year's draft, 2021, right?
Yeah.
But again, if you do the comparison side by side, 4th for Namestnikov, most likely a 3rd for Eakin. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think I like Eakin as a player better. He's a lot heavier.
Well, I think he's just quite a bit more proven as well, you know?
That too.
That's kind of the thing about Namestnikov is I can't really say that I know the player that well. He speaks English really good. I heard that today in Adrian Dater's little article got some audio on an interview with him, and he was like, "Man, you speak some pretty good English, probably better English than like most of the Russians on this team." He's just like, but yeah, you know, like he seems like a good enough dude, and I mean, his numbers aren't like staggeringly, you know, like oh my gosh, wow. We got a diamond in the rough here. Yeah. But, you know, he's a work in progress, and, yeah, he's a player that will probably fit.
I feel like Sakic went for the low risk, low reward.
Which I think is the right way to go.
I think so, too.
I think that was kind of both of our feelings, right, throughout even the whole year, is you don't want to, like, make a big change.
We talked about it. Like, the holes that the Avs had were not gaping, aside from injuries.
And maybe they're not really like fixable in that way.
Yeah, right.
Without salvaging too much of your future and everything.
Right. But again, you could have gone out and got a guy that was out there. Like you could have pried Chris Kreider out of the Rangers.
Yeah.
But you would have had to give away your 1st round pick and a solid prospect. And at least.
And I mean, obviously that was a big price.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to go.
It sounds like he didn't want to go. But it also sounds like they just didn't get the offers, right? Because I have a feeling it was one of those situations where it's like, if we trade you, we'll offer you a new deal in the summer.
Yeah. And
right?
there's
If you want to
probably a
come
lot of-
back, you're gone for 2 months, dude. Like,
yeah, and
go get a cup.
There's probably a lot of teams that are like, no, like if you trade him to us, we want some security, especially with a guy like Kreider. There's probably a lot of teams that are like, nah, we want him like for a few years more.
Well, it's if you want this, we're gonna have to sign him, and then it's this is conditional first round pick, and blah 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 blah.
Right, and then down the rabbit hole.
Which is, I think, when you look at like the Pajot deal, I have a feeling the Pajot deal was known that Pajot was going to sign an extension because that was a price to pay for Pajot.
Oh, completely, right? That was a little bit surprising, for sure.
First, second, and a third, right?
Yeah.
I think.
So
I think the third was late, like 2021.
Right, yeah, I think you're right.
I know one pick was a year later.
And yeah, I mean that's a big price, but
And then like we were kind of getting to, right? St. Louis, all they do at the deadline is trade for Marco Scandella from the Canadiens.
right.
I don't know.
There, I just stumbled upon
That's a depth defenseman for the Blues. Obviously, kind of trying to fill a hole left by Bouwmeester.
Yeah.
Basically, 2 seconds if Scandella resigns or St. Louis wins 2 rounds.
So that's that 2021.
Yeah,
conditions.
That's the second one.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I think it's fair to say that the Blues have a very good chance of winning 2 rounds. We would like to prevent that.
Yeah, for sure.
Like we kind of said, it's probably going to be Blues and Avs in the second round. Like
you would think
when you talk about seeding, that's the.
This
is the NHL, so the 2-3, even the 1-4 round, the first versus the wild card, they're toss-ups. But like when you look at the seeding, the percentages say it's Blues and Avs most likely.
Yeah, and the most, probably probable.
But again, right?
But
so
who the hell knows?
It's not like the Avs had to do the old keeping up with the Joneses at the deadline. It's not like, oh, they made this trade, we got to make that trade.
Which honestly is maybe a good thing as well.
Oh, Dallas made this trade, we got to do this now.
Yeah.
Right? So the Central was pretty quiet as a whole.
Yeah, pretty much.
The Pacific, not so much. There was a lot of fireworks, especially in Edmonton and Vancouver.
Yeah. Yeah, big old trade for Athanasiou.
Athanasiou in Edmonton is a great fit. I mean, we'll see, but man, that is a good deal.
From looking from the outside perspective and just thinking about what that team could use, that's probably a really good pickup. And I think that his name's been floating around for a while, I think, for Edmonton, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And, that gives him another extremely quick guy.
Wait. So you're telling me that Ken Holland, who drafted Athanasiou,
right,
liked Athanasiou?
Yeah.
Weird, huh?
Who would have thought? I mean, Athanasiou later? I love that. But, like, if he ends up getting time with McDavid, that is a scary
Tuesday
combo.
night, he looked mighty good with that line.
Right, exactly.
Connor McDavid had 3 assists with Tyler Ennis and Athanasiou.
And, Ennis, right? Ennis goes there, too.
Wow.
I mean, that's the thing, too, right?
Give the guy a terrible winger and Athanasiou, and here you go.
And, but, 2 guys that can skate, and there you go, man. So.
And then you're looking at probably, I think in a game or two, Cassian's suspension for his super smart kick is over. So he'll be back.
I kind of forgot
about
that again. I'm sure we'll get another, another thing to talk about Cassian in a couple weeks here.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll get suspended again by then.
Do something else stupid.
Why not? But yeah, I think it's safe to say Edmonton's probably going to win the Pacific now.
I mean, they would be the favorites, I think, at this point, especially if everybody stays healthy.
Yeah.
And I mean, even McDavid just went down, and then you seen what friggin' Draisaitl does at that.
99 points.
Man, guy's going off. Honestly, I didn't know he quite had this kind of level in him. So that's insane for the Oilers for sure.
So yeah, you kind of touched on Domingue going to Vancouver, and then Toffoli was the big addition.
I mean, Vancouver's kind of going in on it too. So
I think he's got. I don't know if he scored Tuesday night. I don't know if they played Tuesday night, but he went 3 for 3 in those first 3 games of the Canucks. So
not too shabby.
It's a good debut for him.
And Toffoli had 2 goals in his first game with the Canucks.
Yeah, I think it was 2, and then didn't score, and then he scored in his third.
Yeah, so I mean, those are already paying off for them. So
yeah, right. So it's
gonna spice up that Pacific quite a bit.
Calgary made some interesting moves, really basic.
Yeah. kind of.
But yeah, so it's like the West is kind of, I don't know. I think all the main fireworks were in the East for sure.
Yeah, there's some big
There's
ones.
a lot, and then there was like the rumors about like Parise going to the island.
Yeah.
Which then didn't happen because of cap issues and stuff. And then I think Florida was trying to make a trade that got, or no, maybe it was Carolina. I don't know. There was another trade that got nixed because of cap issues, and then all of a sudden it worked and it didn't work, and I don't know. It was ridiculous.
There seems to be a couple instances like that every trade deadline. Because what was the one last year? I'm trying to think. There was one last year. Maybe I'll think about it before the end. But
I'd say personally, my biggest disappointment in this whole trade deadline, Joe Thornton.
Oh man, me too. Did you see his interview?
He seems pretty sad about it too.
He's so bummed. That's unfortunate. I mean, he's had a rough season. I
just wonder what the price was. Like what San Jose felt the price was.
Well, because they moved Marleau.
Yeah.
And then, I was kind of waiting around the whole day. Like, where's Thornton gonna go?
Because like it would have been kind of a cool.
Yasum another 4th round pick. Bring him over.
That's what I was gonna say. What if you give Thornton a 4th give the 4th for Thornton instead of Namestnikov?
I mean, that's an interesting take for sure.
But it's like
I love Joe Thornton, so it hurts.
It is very odd.
But
I guess one firework that we didn't mention, I don't think, was Kovalchuk to Washington, or did we mention it Monday?
I don't know if we did actually.
That was.
I think that I don't know. I don't think we talked about it. Really,
I don't think so either.
On
but
air.
Yeah, Kovalchuk to Washington.
That's interesting.
With an apparently not so hockey move. Apparently there was better offers, and out of good faith to Kovalchuk, Bergevin sent Kovalchuk to Washington to play with Ovi.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually interesting.
Which is very interesting. So do not be surprised if he goes back to Montreal in the summer.
I mean, it's so interesting because it's not like he's earned in any way.
Aside from actually showing up and crushing it.
Yeah, but it's weird that he already has a sense of loyalty there. It's just,
or vice versa.
Or yeah, exactly. Like there's a loyal relationship there already.
Yeah, it's very odd.
Interesting. I mean, all the power to you, Kovalchuk, Has he won
Imagine.
No, he hasn't won a cup,
no.
has he? No.
Imagine the Vegas party if Kovalchuk and Ovi win together.
Oh, God.
If I have anything to say about
fiesta,
it,
man.
if I have anything to say about it, the Avs will spoil that party.
Yeah. That would be a fun final.
That would be.
For sure. I mean, that's kind of like when we just went through that little stretch where we played Washington and Tampa, and we're both of those games were just so epic and fast paced and playoff mentality, and I would love to see either of those. That'd be so fun.
Yeah.
But it's a ways away here.
So yeah, that's it. That's all. That's trade deadline 2020. I don't know what kind of coverage you guys got down in the States, but I know the DNVR guys were following along and live tweeting that, and I think they're live streaming that too.
Yeah, they did the last hour little live stream chatting it up, and yeah.
But yeah, on to the future stuff. Avs and Sabres Wednesday night. Again, we'll talk about that on Sunday. As of right now, it's going really well. 7 shots for Buffalo to 1 shot for Colorado. About 7 minutes in. So hope that turns around.
It's a slow start. It's fine.
Start.
Frankie's got it.
They've been off for 3 days. They're not used to it anymore.
Right, exactly.
Every other day. Or every day, if you're Frankie.
Yeah.
But, and then what? Friday, Carolina.
Carolina, that's going to be a tough one.
Carolina just had their Zamboni celebration.
Right. Oh, my God.
David Ayers.
It's amazing.
Still
amazing.
Siren Sounder stuff on Tuesday night and all that good stuff. If you're a Hurricanes fan, not a Leafs fan, because shoot me.
Brutal.
But, they made a ton of moves, too.
They really did.
Who they picked up?
Trocheck.
They picked up.
Which was a massive trade. 4 players for him. That's crazy.
But, I mean,
usually just
of minor players.
Yeah, you usually just don't see that,
No,
right?
you don't, not
4
really.
skaters for 1 skater. It's like, whoa. No draft picks.
Trading the guy they traded for Nino Niederreiter because that didn't work out. Eric Holla.
Yeah.
They also traded for the 2 defensemen. I can't think of them right now.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Brady Shea.
There you go.
From the Rangers.
For a first rounder.
Yeah, that was the one. The Brady Shea was the trade that was
there it is,
coming and going from the cap issues.
Oh, right. Okay.
And then Vatanen, right? That's the one.
Yeah, Vatanen. So it's 2 substantial D pickups.
The Hurricanes definitely added the most of any team.
Oh, for sure. Well, it's kind of yet to be seen if it's the best.
We'll see.
But
Trocheck's the second line center.
Yeah, easy.
Vatanen and Brady Shea are top 4 defensemen.
Easy top 4s, right? Yeah.
And they did that at one trade deadline.
Yeah, that's insane. Like, this has got to be one of the biggest hauls for a single team.
That's the biggest haul for a single team except for Columbus. Last year.
Exactly, where they just
went
a little too far.
The Hurricanes didn't trade away their entire draft. So
right?
that's kind of a good thing.
We'll see what happens with that, but I mean, Brady Shea he's a good D-man. I feel like that's worth a first round.
Well, yeah, because he's a good defenseman, and he's got like 3 more years on his deal at 5.25.
Right.
Good
so
deal.
I mean, especially with Dougie out for them right now, those are 2 really big pickups.
Vatanen's a rental. I believe Trocheck still got some deal left too.
Yeah, I think he's got at least another year, right?
2 more years.
Another 2 years, yeah. So I mean, that's
Vatanen's a rental.
Huge additions for them, and I mean that team has been pretty good all year. They're set to make a pretty decent run here.
They won a hockey game with a Zamboni driver in it. They're just fine.
They're doing just fine. Not very many teams can say that.
The good news for the Avs, though, on that front is the fact that these guys probably haven't gelled quite yet with the team.
Right.
So before they get too ready to roll and all that good stuff,
shake them up a bit.
The Avs get to jump in, grab 2 points, and get out.
I mean, yeah, and if there's an offense that you want to be disorganized for, it's definitely not the Avs. So, I mean, even without some of our players out, watch out for Makar and McKinnon confusing the hell out of you in your own zone. So.
I think we kind of talked about it too, though, on Monday's episode, where the Avs didn't look frustrated in like the games against the Kings and the Ducks.
Right.
The Hurricanes are that same kind of team where they play defense.
Yeah.
There's a reason that they got scored on twice. And only twice against the Leafs when they had an emergency backup in net.
Right.
They played defense.
Which is insane.
And a crazy forecheck. So the Avs got to be ready for that big time.
Yeah, high energy team for sure.
And then Saturday is
another back-to-back.
Big time Central matchup in Nashville against the Preds on Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
That place will be rocking. Guaranteed.
Yeah, they always have such good atmosphere up in the... What do they even call it? I don't even know.
Bridgestone Arena, but I don't know what they call, what the nickname is.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Idea.
But yeah, gotta love those fans. They're good.
The Den,
over
maybe?
there.
I don't know. But yeah, it'll be a crazy weekend again, as usual. But Friday, Saturday, doubleheader. Just in case you wanted to go out, you should probably stay in.
Yeah. Hockey. Or go out to the bar and enjoy it out there.
Yeah.
I don't know if DNVR's got another watch party going or something, but...
I would assume so. They seem to do it every game now.
Yeah.
And then, that's the end of February, and basically 5 weeks left of hockey after Saturday.
Holy crap. It goes by so quick. And then you get to this point in the year, and you're like, holy crap, the playoffs are right around the corner.
That's the thing, right? Like, you look at the standings, and you're like, wait, there's 20 games left?
Yeah, it's
what?
Crazy. It just flies by. Those middle, 40 games, they just kind of gone.
They meld together, and then all of a sudden, trade deadline happens, and you're like, the end of the season's how far?
Yeah.
What?
And then
6 weeks?
Then it's just a blitz, the sprint to the finish.
It's nuts. But yeah, after Wednesday's game, they have 20 games to go.
Mm-hmm.
Fingers crossed they're back in second place in the Central. Jump over Dallas again.
I mean, yeah, and it's crazy to think that we have still have games in hand on both St. Louis and Dallas.
Yeah, 3 games in hand-ish. It'll be 2 after tonight.
Right.
But
and
2
then
games
we got
in
another
hand
back-to-back.
on St. Louis, 1 on Dallas. Only 1 point behind Dallas, depending on what happens in Buffalo tonight.
Yeah.
And then 5-ish behind St. Louis. So still in reach, still in grasp if you win those games in hand.
Definitely.
Again, games in hand don't matter if you don't win. So
imaginary points.
St. Louis is on a 5-game winning streak too, so it's got to come to an end eventually, right?
Well, yeah, and of course, yeah. Right when every team's kind of struggling in those top 3, and then everyone's like, oh, okay, I guess we'll start winning
Let's
again.
play hockey.
So everyone's just winning again.
You guys want to play hockey? We'll play hockey too. Okay.
Yeah.
This Central Division all year, ridiculous.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a battle in those playoffs to see exactly what happens with this Central. So it's going to be an interesting ride here.
But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully everybody's happy-ish with the Avs trade deadline. Hopefully everybody's happy with what the other teams around us didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just pray for our guys to come back ASAP, and life will be good.
We need you back. No more ambulance crap. I'm done with it.
Rannon, Burakovsky, Calvert, Nieto,
Grubauer.
Stop it. Please come back. Oh, one thing we didn't mention was Dater's sick chirp. On the Leafs.
The Hutchinson.
When Hutchinson was
So
he tweeted out a little minute-long clip of Hutchinson in practice, and then sent out the hot diss on the Leafs and said the Leafs loaned him 2 defensemen too, and they were just like little pylon guys. Oh, I hate it, but I love it. It was so good.
It was good.
So good.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. I hate you. But anyway, we will catch you on Monday's episode, and enjoy the weekend.
Yeah, go Avs.
Now a quick word from our sponsors.
Last but not least today, we have a fantastic deal from Reebok. Reebok is offering an extra 50% off if you use the code GETDOWN, no spaces. This would be a perfect time to get yourself some new workout gear, maybe some UFC fight merch. Whatever you're looking for, this code will save you some money. Also, same as with Puffy and NHL Shop. If you shop through our link, which we will tweet after the episode, you can help support us and the Hockey Podcast Network. Again, thanks for tuning in to our growing network of podcasts, and we hope you enjoy our episode. Don't forget to visit us on Twitter at Offside by a Mile to join our conversation and have your voice heard. Also, check out the rest of the Hockey Podcast Network on Twitter at HockeyPodNet and thehockeypodcastnetwork.com. You can listen to the podcast there or anywhere you get your podcasts from. The biggest thing you can do to support us is by going to iTunes or Apple Podcasts and giving us a 5-star rating. Also, if you're looking to donate to the network, visit the Hockey Podcast Network's Patreon page. All donations go straight to the podcast host. Thanks, and see you next episode.
You're listening to the Hockey Podcast Network on Twitter at HockeyPodNet. New episodes every Monday and Thursday. Download at thehockeypodcastnetwork.com or wherever you get your podcasts from.